Hello, I'm Robert, and I'm a Certified Bob Ross Instructor. I thought today we'd do a fun painting. It's a cold, wintry day here, and I thought it'd be kind of a fun day since we're all inside to do this uh, Purple Mountain Waterfall. And we're going to do this in just a minute. Let me back my little guys up here, and uh, and then we'll proceed. Move Bob out of the way. So let me talk to you about what I have already done on the canvas. I took a black canvas. You can cover it with gesso. You can buy these canvases black. But I took a black canvas and then I put my tape around it. Put some masking tape around it. You may not want to do that. I like to have a little black edge when I'm done with it. You don't have to put the tape around it. If you want it, that's fine. Then I've covered the canvas with a very thin, even coat of liquid clear. Super, super thin. In fact, I even took a little bit of a paper towel and blotted it up, making sure that I didn't have too much liquid clear on there. Then on top of that, I took a mixture of CAD or alizarin, and phthalo blue. I mixed that over here just to get a nice lavender color. So I've made a mixture over here, much, much more alizarin crimson than phthalo blue, because phthalo will eat all that crimson up. So just a little dab of phthalo blue I put on there, and then mix that together to get a lavender color. And then I've covered that canvas that I put a thin, even coat of liquid clear. I made a thin, even coat across the whole thing of the lavender color. Again, very, very thin coat. Then I've just made sure it's thin, and then I've kind of touched it to make sure I had enough color in it. And then that's the basis of my background canvas. So the colors that we're going to need for this painting will be titanium white, phthalo blue. I put a little midnight black. This is dark sienna. This was my crimson or alizarin. Sap green. I've got a little touch of Van Dyke. I've got cad yellow, and I have yellow ochre in there. So those are our basic colors that we're going to be using. So I'm going to start with my 1-inch brush, and I'm just going to tap the ends in this titanium white. I want to just make sure I have a nice distributed coat on the ends of that brush, just the ends of titanium white. Now, let me tell you what else I've done here that you could try. When I put the black down, I used the foam brush, so that's kind of easy when I put the gesso down. But I also used a sponge brush to make a little bit of a foliage form in here. So that might be something that you might want to try too. I just dabbed it into my black gesso, and then I tapped out some foliage in there. It kind of makes a nice background color. So that might be something that you might want to incorporate too. So now with my 1-inch brush, tapped into my titanium white. I'm going to come into the center of this, and I'm just going to make some little X's. This is going to indicate X's right in the center of this painting. This is just going to indicate a little light coming through, a little bit of a light pattern coming in, a little misty morning maybe, or foggy type day. I'm just making X's. If you want it a little bit brighter, well, you just take a little more titanium white. You can really, this is light coming through there, so you can really zing it. Through your foliage. And again, if you want a little bit more brighter, just take a little more white, tap it on the edge, and just pull it through. So now I have a little bit of a nice light coming through there. So I'm going to take my mixture here that I have. I've still got the white in here. I'm not cleaning the brush. I'm going to tap into my mix of alizarin crimson and phthalo blue. And I'm just going to start at the top here, and I'm just going to indicate little nice leaf patterns. These are distant trees. Just going to tap basically with almost the end of the brush. And just pull down some nice patterns into that little area that we made. There's some nice, these are just nice, light, basic strokes that we're having. We're going to come back and add some more layers. But we start with that. And I'm going to grab a little bit more. A little bit more value in there, a little bit darker. And just tap some basic, these are going to be leaves, trees that are coming down. Okay, I'm going to add a little more, maybe a little more titanium white to this color, tapping it in the ends of the brush again. And we'll come up here. We'll make some more shapes coming into it. Add a little more value. I'm still working, tapping nice and lightly. These are very distant. leaves coming down. You see just very light background indications of foliage. I'm going to set my brush down, and I'm going to come back with my liner brush. I'm going to come in here with the dark that we made up here. I'm going to load this up, and I'm just going to put a few indications of trunks coming in here. Some nice light trunks. These are distant. These are still light. Okay. So we have a few indications of distant leaves, trees. So I'm going to come back here again and tap some more color, some more titanium white. I'm just going to, again, create some nice foliage. Once again, these are in the background. They're nice distant trees. Very subtle. Think cluster tree shapes. Maybe down here we'll get some foliage that is going to be rolling down here. And this color shows up so nice and brightly on these black canvases. So we have our nice distant trees in there. We're going to come back with my liner brush and just add a few distant branches over on this side. Have a couple indications of branches, very light, very subtle. In the background. Come back with my 1-inch brush, just add a little bit of foliage on those. Add a little more color, a little more values into those distant trees. Okay. Now, I'm going to clean my brush. We do that in dipping into some odorless paint thinner. Then I have a little beater rack at the bottom here that I'm just splattering it across. Now I'm going to come in here with a little bit of, I've got a little bit of liquid clear on here. I grab a little bit of titanium white, and this is dark sienna. And we're going to indicate a little bit of a tree trunk coming down here. We want it nice and twisted. We want to give these tree trunks a little bit of character. We don't want them like telephone poles. These are just nice, loose trees, distant trees. Having a lot of fun above the waterfall. Okay. So we have those distant trees in there. And then we're going to add a little bit of our cad yellow, a little sap green, maybe a touch of midnight black to make it a little bit of a stronger color, stronger green. And then I'm going to just start tapping in some nice, with the corner of the brush, some nice distant foliage. I just got this little bit of paint at the end of here, and then I'm just using mostly the corner of the brush to make it a little bit darker. Okay, think clumps when you do this. There we go. Nice. Think values, think clumps. We don't want to lose that black space in between there. So don't lose the black space. Get a little bit darker as it comes down. And we're just about at the horizon now. We get a little foliage at the bottom. Again, don't lose all that nice dark values in here. Okay, so now clean the brush up. And we will begin our waterfall. So you can do this with a 1-inch brush, or you can do it with a fan brush. So I'm going to try it with the fan brush today. So I'm going to take a little bit, I'm going to pull this white out. I'm adding a little bit of the liquid clear. So I've really got this brush loaded up here. I'm going to add a tiny bit of blue, just the least little touch of blue. Pull this out. I'm going to come across where the water would be running. Coming across here, water's running here, water's running here. And all of a sudden it just drops. So we got it dropped. So I take my clean brush again, and I'll come back here and just add another line. There we go. There we have our nice flow of the water coming down. Now I'm going to come back here with my nice clean brush, I'm going to tap a little bit of white at the end, and I'm just going to tap on the base corner of the brush. Just to indicate a little bit of foam coming up. If you have this much force coming down, there's bound to be some nice foam coming up here, some splashes coming up in here. Okay. Clean that brush up. And then we're going to come with our palette knife. We're going to make a mix of, well, we can make our dark over here. This is the color we used for our background, and a little bit of, that was our phthalo blue and crimson. So now I'm going to use just a little bit touch more black in there. And I'm just going to come in here and add a little bit of dark value. Okay, so I just got a dark in here so I can show a little bit of light. So then I'm going to come in here, take a little bit of scoop of that white, I got a little bit of the dark sienna there. I'm going to make it a little bit of marble effect, and I'll come up here. I'll just indicate a little bit of a rock pattern across here, across the top. Then I'll take my palette knife, and it's clean. I'm just going to pull down a little indication of some rocks coming down here. Just scraping it down. Okay, so I got a little bit of a rock pattern coming down there. Then I'm going to come back. I think I'll use my fan brush for this. So I'm going to come in here with my yellows and greens. Give you a little bit of a titanium white. And we're just going to indicate some foliage that is running down there. if you have that much water, you're going to bound to have some nice foliage coming down. Maybe I'll take my palette knife and we'll start a little bit of a rock formation here. I'll add a little more titanium white with dark sienna. And we'll just build this nice little bit of a suggestion of a rock pattern. And it may be coming into here. Now I'm going to add a little bit of green, sap green, a little bit of sap green, have the yellow. I put some liquid white in there. And I'm just going to come back here and add a little bit more draping, furnish type things. In fact, I'm going to come in here with tap in here with a little bit of my 1-inch brush. And give it a little more volume. Drape it right in. Drape it right into the mountain. Remember, I don't want to lose all that nice dark. Okay. Now, I'm going to take clean my brush. And I'm going to pull, take a little bit of white on it. I'm going to pull this straight down. I'm going to indicate a little bit of, I'm going to indicate some water down here. Lightly go across. Just to suggest some nice reflections at the bottom of that waterfall. Now I'm going to come on the other side, left-hand side, And we're going to come up here. I'm going to grab a little bit of my darks again. We'll kind of indicate a little bit of tree over here. And then I'm going to do the same type of thing with my greens that I did on this side. I take some sap green, tap it in here with a little bit of cad and just a touch of my midnight black to make it a little more foresty. Tapping that in. And we'll come over here. And again, we want to think about clumps. Nice clump shapes. Just don't throw them on. Think about shapes of the tree and how the clumps of leaves would be. Keep on building these clumps. Right into the waterfall. Can be overlapping a little bit. And we'll keep on coming down. These nice little furnish type things dripping down. I traveled to Malaysia at one time, and this kind of reminds me of a waterfall in Malaysia where we were walking through. Actually, it's quite tropical, kind of the jungle, and we came across this nice waterfall. I was leading a Boy Scout troop at that time, and we took advantage of this waterfall to go swimming. A little more dark. just picking up some more leaf structure. I'm going to clean my brush again. I think I'm going to add just a little bit phthalo blue down there. A little bit. Clean brush, straight down. And then across. Suggest some reflections. Now I'm going to come over on this side, pull this down a little bit more, and across. Then I'm going to come into it some dark. This is just midnight black, and I'm just going to tap it in to the base here. So I got a nice dark down here. Then come with a little more white. Come here, white. Get some green. A little more of this yellow in here. And tap in some nice foliage. I don't want to lose all that dark. More in here. Add a little more values of green in here. A few more leaves up in that area. I'm going to flick up a few little leaves, little stems. Take a little bit of white at the end. Just a few more sticks and trunks and trees that are going into this section here. few more in here. Those come up. Taking just a little bit of that liquid white. Just to add some more trees and limbs in here to make it appear a little more foresty. And I'm using just the edge of this knife to do that. Here. Got a few more greens down here for volume. And a few more lights. Light values up top for dimension. A few more clumps. Down. I'm going to take the tape off here, see what we got here. Give us our nice border. Okay, so there you have a nice distant waterfall. The only thing missing is you sign your name down there, maybe a bright red. And yeah, I'll tap this a little bit more down here at the base. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this one. This is the mountain waterfall. Got lots more coming. Got some watercolors coming too. So hope you enjoyed it. Hope to see you soon. Again, this is Robert. Take care. Happy painting.